What is up? Gordon from Marmalead here with a quick demo of the application. We're going to step through feature by feature, section by section, so you can kind of get a good idea of how you can use different sections of the website and how to best leverage those to increase the performance of your Etsy shop. So we're going to start off here on the search page, which is kind of central to the entirety of what we're trying to do inside of Marmalead. So you can see here, we've done a search for autumn wreath. Right across the top, we can easily see that this is not a long tail keyword, which means that it's pretty generic. It's not a very specific keyword. Right underneath that, we have the marmometers, which show us three very important pieces of information, which you will see scattered through the rest of the tool. These are kind of the three measurements that we use to determine whether or not a keyword could be a good fit for our shop. And that is the number of searches on Etsy that we expect this keyword to see in the next 30 days, the amount of engagement that we expect this keyword to see on Etsy in the next 30 days, which is the number of visits to a listing from this keyword, and the competition level that we have on Etsy right now. So if I went out to Etsy and did a search for autumn wreath, I could expect to see 29,000 results come back. Right below that, we have our engagement over time graph, which shows us 14 months historical performance of how much engagement listings have gotten from this keyword, as well as 3 months forecasted engagement. And for something like autumn wreath, it's no surprise that there is very clear seasonality with this keyword. And you can see, looking at the forecast, we expect that to continue in the future. Below that, we have the ability to do some filtering and limit the number of search results that we're processing as we're looking at things. And underneath that, we have some information, some high-level information about the results that we are looking at. So we're looking at 100 different results. There's 75 different shops represented in those 100 results. We break out the pricing for you so that you can easily see what bargain pricing looks like, mid-range and premium priced products for this keyword. And then you see a whole set of images that come back for this keyword, just to kind of get a sense of, am I in the right place? Am I seeing what I'm expecting to see for the keyword that I just searched? And would my product fit in amongst these other ones? Next, we have our pricing spread breakdown, which shows the pricing landscape for this keyword and where similar items are priced in this range. Now, free shipping has been a big push for Etsy recently, and this next section will help you better understand what the shipping landscape looks like for this keyword. It breaks down how other sellers are handling shipping, how long it takes them to process orders, and whether or not they're offering free shipping, so that you can better understand if you were to enter this market, would you be expected to offer free shipping? Is that something that you would have to do in order to be competitive? Just like we have the price spread up above, this is the shipping price spread for all of the sellers who are not offering free shipping and what their shipping prices look like. Now, it's no secret that sellers who do offer free shipping tend to increase the price of their products to cover that shipping. And right down here in the section, we can easily see that in this situation, it looks like sellers are covering the average cost of $18.93 in their listing prices, so that the ones that are offering free shipping, the shipping price is really baked into the cost of the product. And that's something that Etsy actually encourages. Now we have our My Listings section. It looks like none of our listings are actually targeting the keyword autumn wreath, but if they were, our own listings would show up here with a score of how well we're actually attacking this keyword, if we've included it in our title, in our tags, and if we have a good visibility chance for using this keyword on our listings. Below that is some sample listings that come back from Etsy, along with some information about those. You can see pricing information, title, the image obviously for those things. And then if we hover over tags, we can see all of the tags being used by each one of these listings. And then down below that, we actually take that tags section and we break it out into something a little bit more useful. So you can see the frequency with which each tag is being used. It looks like we have a total of 558 different tags being used on those 100 listings. And the most popular, no surprise, when I search for autumn wreath is autumn wreath. Next, we have similar shopper searches, which are similar keywords that shoppers would be using instead of autumn wreath. If you're looking for other keyword ideas, this is a great place to find some of those. This has been organized by whether or not the keyword is long tail, and then sorted by searches, followed by engagement, and then competition. So we can see right off of the top here, autumn blaze actually looks like it could be a really strong keyword to use. The search volume is really good for it. It has a fair amount of engagement, and the competition is nice and low, which is one of the things we like to see, especially for a long tail keyword. My only concern with this one is that engagement is half of searches. You really want to see engagement being like twice or more than the number of searches that you're seeing to know that on average, when someone does a search, they're clicking 2 or more listings and not just bouncing and doing a different search after that. We can also easily see here that rustic Christmas wreath might not be a great keyword. While it is long tail, the number of searches that we're expecting in the next 30 days and the engagement is super low, especially for that level of competition. Next, we have our long tail alternatives table, which, while you remember at the top, we showed that autumn wreath was not a long tail keyword. Well, here are some keywords that are long tail. And these are keywords that include the phrase autumn wreath, but are actually in and of themselves long tail. So they're more descriptive. And we break down these by searches, engagement, and competition also. Finally, at the very bottom of the search page, we have our tag cloud. And this is just a different representation of that tag table we saw up above, where the more popular tags are going to be larger and the other tags that are less popular are going to be smaller. So now inside of the My Listings section, we can see that we have all of our listings shown here with grades associated with each one of those. And these grades are telling us how well each of our listings is set up for SEO on Etsy, according to Etsy's rules that they tell us are important to them, and from what we've seen for how the algorithm on Etsy works. Now, we have the ability to sort these things in different ways, and then we can easily filter these by finding listings that are missing tags, which is a clear red flag, ones that don't have any tags in the title, and so on and so forth. Now, if we want to dive into one of these, we can better understand why these are receiving the grades that they are. So here on the listing detail page, I can see that this listing is graded as a C+. And that's going to be driven by these scores right here underneath SEO factors. Nothing else on this page drives the grade. It's just these 4 criteria right here. And that is, 1, whether or not I'm using all 13 of the tags that Etsy gives me. Super important that you do that. It's really easy to correct listings that aren't using all 13 tags. Just throw some more keywords on them. In this case, this listing is using all 13 tags, which is great. What isn't great on this listing is that none of my focus keywords are long tail keywords. Now, we're going to get into that in a second for what that means and what exactly a focus keyword is, but know that it's important to at least have some of your keywords be long tail keywords. We can see that our engagement level on our focus keywords is relatively strong. That's good. And we can tell that a good number of our tags are actually long tail tags, which is fantastic. Next, we have our sales factors section, and this information is very helpful to sellers in making sure that their listings are set up to sell. It's not part of your grade, so changing anything in here isn't going to affect the grades on your listing, but it still can help you tee up your listings and make sure that they're really, really dialed in for that when people land there, they're going to be making the next step, which is to purchase. Next, we have our title readability section, which breaks down some information about the title on our listing. Now, it's very important to put the most important keywords in your title first. On platforms like Etsy's mobile app, it doesn't actually even show your entire title, especially in search results. You're really only getting a very small snapshot of your title, and it's going to be the first set of characters in your title. So you want to check here and make sure that what is showing up for people on the mobile app for searches accurately describes what your listing is and just doesn't confuse people even more. So next we have our focus keywords and our non-focus keywords. So these sections really are showing us which keywords exist in both our title and our tags, and which keywords exist only in our tags. So the ones that are in both our title and our tags are considered focus keywords. Those are ones that we are telling Etsy that we are focusing on. Those are our most important keywords, and those are the ones that we want to rank the strongest for. So we put them in both our title and our tags. Now, before, up above, it was complaining that I didn't have enough long tail keywords inside my focus keywords. And here I can easily see that all 3 of the keywords that exist inside my tags and my title, none of those are long tail keywords. It would be good to probably replace some or all of these, if I can, with long tail keywords. Next, we have our tags list here, which just breaks down all 13 of our tags and shows us some core information about those. Where they exist inside of our title, a higher number is closer to the front, whether or not these tags are long tail, and the number of searches and engagement these tags are expected to see over the next 30 days. So periodically, it's a good idea to come through, spin through your listings, find the ones that have a low expectation of searches and engagement, see if you're actually getting any traffic from those keywords inside of your Etsy stats. And if you're not, those are prime candidates to remove those keywords from your listing and swap in some new ones that are more favorable across the next 30 days. So here we are inside of Storm, and this is a cool tool. If you're looking to brainstorm a bunch of ideas for keywords and you're just drawing a blank on how else you can describe a certain something, this is the perfect place to go to do that. So this is a Storm I've created for digital paper. And when I do that, it populates a list on the left-hand side of all of these suggestions of related keywords. As I find ones that I like, I tap this right arrow over here and it adds them to my list on the right-hand side. If I don't like them, I can tap the X button and they'll disappear and never bother me again. Now, every time you add a keyword from the list on the left to the list on the right, the system uses that keyword to find even more keyword suggestions to give you on that left-hand side list. So you could almost sit here infinitely and keep adding keywords and getting more suggestions and adding more keywords and getting more suggestions. It's a really great way to brainstorm different keywords. And you can see on each of these lists, we've broken out searches, engagement, and competition scores for each of our keywords. Now our bucket on the right-hand side is automatically sorted by those, including searches first, then engagement score, and then competition. Now, here on the comparison feature, I can really easily pull in 4 different keywords and compare them against one another to see which one might be the best fit for my shop. It doesn't give me as much information as a keyword search, but it gives me much more information than I'll see inside of one of my lists or inside of a Storm. So here I've entered 4 different keywords, all related. And I can easily see the number of searches we forecast each one to get over the next 30 days, the amount of engagement or clicks each one of those is going to get over the next 30 days, and the competition level for each one of those things. So it's really easy to see where the red flags are and where the actual numbers compare against one another. I can also further down see what the pricing spread looks like for these different keywords, where the bargain price range is, where the mid-range price is, and where the premium price range is for these. So, for example, I can see that the mid-range price for Autumn Blaze is completely different than the mid-range price for the Fall Wreath keywords that I have on the list. So if I was competing one of those spaces, I'd want to make sure that I'm falling into the correct range for the keywords that I'm actually targeting. Then lastly, at the bottom there, I can see a section showing me the top tags for each of those keywords that comes back. And for those top 100 listings that we're seeing, what the most popular tags are that those 100 listings are using. It's a good way to get other ideas for keywords to try in your comparison, or maybe find some commonalities between them. So here on the tracking tool, we have the opportunity to track up to 4 different keywords over time. And this tracking will persist for as long as you have your Marmalead account enabled. So here we're showing an example for edible butterflies. And we've collected quite a bit of data for this keyword over time here. We can see the number of results that have come back on Etsy for this keyword. It looks pretty steady over time. Sometimes you tend to see how much keywords increase going into the holidays for number of results and then fall off after the holidays. And then what periods of the year might be more popular for those, just depending on the number of products that show up on Etsy. Next, we can see the number of shops that have been competing for this keyword over time. So you can really tell if this has been like a hot competitive space or if things are kind of dropping off. And then last, we have an average and median price spread here, just kind of showing you what the price landscape looks like for this. If other sellers are increasing their price, it's probably something that you're going to want to keep tabs on so that you can increase your prices as well. So the trending page is actually one of our newer features that we've added, and it's based on information from Pinterest. We find that a lot of the things that start to happen on Etsy actually start to happen on Pinterest first. So this is a great place for sellers to look for information on what is hot, what is starting to become really popular, and that they can tap into with their own Etsy shops and get products there so that when shoppers move from browsing things on Pinterest over to shopping for things on Etsy, they can find exactly what they're looking for. Now, we've broken trends down into 2 separate sections. There's 2 different types of trends we want to look at. First is hot trends, and that's what we're seeing here. These are things that have historically been pretty low, like We can see here for art background, right? This is the interest level on Pinterest as far as number of searches for this keyword. Then recently, this has really climbed up, which is why we're flagging this as a hot trend. So all of these charts here, you're going to see things that have been historically low and then all of a sudden have a big spike at the end. And so this is a good place to come. Every now and then these are updated weekly, and just kind of keep tabs on what's going on out there and what some sort of trends might be that are showing up. Now, the next section we have, other than hot trends, is upward trends. And these are more slow, gradual things that are trending over time. So all of these keywords, you'll see their charts tend to have a slow but very steadily increasing history to them. And again, this is a great place to come kind of browse every week. Not necessarily all of these things are going to be relevant to your shop, but it's a good place to get new ideas. And especially if you're thinking of branching out into different markets, this could be a great place to get ideas for those spaces too. So inside of keyword lists here, it's a really great way to store keywords that you want to keep track of for later. Sellers are used to searching for keywords and writing these things down on pieces of paper or in spreadsheets and stuff like that. One of the worst problems with that is as soon as you've written it down, that information is already out of date. Markets are moving, things are changing month to month, and those things that you wrote down last month aren't going to be the same as the ones this month. By storing your keywords on a list inside of Marmalead like this, they automatically update daily as the numbers change and as markets shift. So here we can see that we have a keyword list for the phrase owl trivet. You might have noticed that throughout the app, there are these little buttons for adding keywords to your lists. You can pretty much do it from anywhere inside of our system. It makes it nice and easy so that as you're creating a storm, as you're doing a keyword search, you can easily add those keywords to a list that you can then keep track of over time. So inside of our keyword list, obviously we have our list of keywords. We show whether or not they're long tail. We show their expected searches for the next 30 days, engagement in the next 30 days, and competition level right now. This is a really great way of having sectioned off lists to keep track of different things. You could make a different list for different holidays. If you're a vintage seller, you could have a different list for different decades, depending on the words that were popular during those time periods. It's a really cool way of organizing your keywords into something that makes sense and is never out of date. Now, the history section isn't super duper exciting. It just shows you a history of the searches that you've done inside the keyword search section and inside the keyword comparison section. So all of your last searches show up in here, and you can easily come back here to see how these things scored up against each other. If you did a search a week ago and you forget what that awesome keyword was that you found, well, you can find it in here. So that's it for our whirlwind tour through Marmalead. I hope you got something out of that. If you're interested in more content from us, check out our blog. If you still have questions about Marmalead, check out our knowledge base or sign up for our on-demand webinar. If you're still stuck, feel free to reach out to us at success@marmalead.com. Happy marming.